So by now you know that an object literal is an object that is declared using these curly braces. So you just give the object a name and then you declare the object. You can include elements right away or you can add the elements later on, but this is an object literal, a list of 0 or more key value pairs enclosed in the curly braces. So the object property names can almost be anything. It can be a number. You can even have functions in here. You can have functions in there. You can have strings. You can see this is a string. This is a number. So the property names and the property themselves can be anything. It can be a function. It can even be other objects. You can see this is another object. So of course this is best seen as an example. So let's go and see how we can build up to this and see the different elements that we can have, the different properties and property names that we can have within this object. So if I come to Scratchpad, you see that I have this object, and right now the object has two properties, a name and make. This is easy because we only have strings in here. You can also have variables. You can declare a variable up there and use that variable as a name or use that variable as a key. So if you want to access anything within this object, you'll just use my car obj.name, and that will tell you the name of the car which is here. So if this is the same car that Robert Freeman used in Boondocks, of course the name would be Dorothy, and that is Robert's car. So if we display the name, it will give us Dorothy as the name of the car. And if you want to know the make, display that will give you the make of the car. Now you can also have a number in here. So let's say that we have something, it's 7, and okay, I need to add that on there. And for this one, let's just call it a start. So if you want to access this 7 of this object, you can access it using my car obj. Now if you want to access things like this, things that are not acceptable identifiers in JavaScript, things that could not be used as an identifier, maybe for a variable, for a function, things like that, you have to access them using the square brackets. So if you want to access the 7th element, you'll have to access this using 7. You cannot access it using the dot notation. So let me do this, display first, and then we'll see that. And if we try to access it using the dot notation, let's see what happens if we try to access it using the dot notation. If we try to display, it will give us a bunch of errors. So if an element is a number or is something that would not be accepted as a JavaScript identifier, we're going to look at examples about that specific thought later on. So right now, just know that if you want to access something like this, you have to use the square brackets, and that will give us the result. Now you can also have objects as properties within this particular object. So if I come here and let me add another object. So maybe we have the year, there is the year of manufacture, maybe year of purchase, and you want all of that to be in here. So let's just say year. So if you had this kind of an object whereby the object also has another object within it, if you want to access the elements, if you want to know the values which are in here, let me remove all of this. So if I want to access anything, maybe you want to know the manufacturing year, this is the manufacturing year, and this is the purchase year, the year it was bought. Now if you want to know the year when it was manufactured, you use my car obj dot year, which is this one. So whatever property will be here, you'll use that to access the element here, and then you'll use another dot to access whatever you want to access. If you want to access the manufacturing year, then that's the one you'll put in here. So this will give us the manufacturing year. Display that, it gives us that. If you want to know the purchase year, it will be my car object, and then how to access this particular object, and then the purchase year. Display that in there. If there's an object within an object, to access it, you first of all access the object and the key, the outer key that has these particular values. And then after you access this one, you can access the values using the key which is within that particular object. If inside here we also had other objects, let's say in here, let me just copy this, Control C, and let's say in here we had another object. Let me remove this one. Let's just say the object here is M. So I'll remove this one too. So this will be like, this is also an object within this particular object. So we have this, and it also has an object as its values, and within this first element, this first property, it also has an object. So if you want to access the one which is in here, it would be the dot. So it will be my car object dot year, and then we access the first value here. We access the first property which is M dot year, and then if there were many elements, you'd access those elements using the property key. So if I want to access that, I'll use dot M. So if I remove everything and I try to access that, display, it will give us the value which is there. So you'll just use this to access. If there is an object within an object, you can do it this way. So in this video, we've seen that you can have different types of properties in an object. For example, here we had an object which had objects. We had a number, and you saw how to access them if you are to access a number like this. And we also saw that you can also have objects within this object, and you saw how to access those objects. So let's continue on in the next video from here.